Hi everyone. Today we will see how to integrate GPT-3 into Airtable. So if you are not familiar with the Airtable is like a spreadsheet database, just like a Google spreadsheet, and we will see how we can integrate GPT-3 into it. So what is use case here? I have taken the simpler use case that we have even seen in the earlier videos. So in the one column, I have a review. Now this review could be related to your business page, just like if we have a Google business page where people write review for you. And then what my use case, whenever I get any reviews here in this column, review column, I'm going to use GPT-3 to generate reply for that review automatically. Now in your case, that use case could be different. In your case, it could be, let's say you have some review, you want to calculate sentiment, or maybe you have a review, you want to extract aspect from it. It could be anything. This is what I just wanted to show you. So let's try things like, let me copy some review from here. So I just search some restaurant or some kind of stuff, and maybe we can filter, let's say, the lowest rating review, and maybe I can pick up this one. Let's see if someone says something bad about your business, and we will see we can generate the auto reply using GPT-3. And so I pasted it here. So what happened? It checks some condition. If whenever you get something here, it is going to hit GPT-3, or make a request to GPT-3 and going to generate the reply for you. Okay, I maybe I need to click it outside. Let's see. Yeah, we got it here, right? We are sorry that this is what it is mentioning, that you think that it is too costly. Maybe user has something related to the cost. They do mention about the cost. That is what you are addressing in the review reply. So this is more of like a human level kind of reply. It could be anything. Maybe we take some positive review, let's say the highest rated review. And okay, this seems to be good review. We can copy this thing. Let me paste it here, and it will again make a GPT-3 request, and we will have that GPT-3 generated reply here. We can see we are glad you like that thing, right? So this seems to be a positive review, and this is something you can leverage GPT-3 to reply maybe your thousands of reviews. And it need not to be in the, again, in the spreadsheet like this. I just show you how to do that thing so that you can use it for any use case that what you have. Now what do we need to build something like this? You might have seen some demos on Twitter or LinkedIn that someone has integrated GPT-3 into their Excel or some kind of thing, right? So we will see how do we use that kind of stuff. So first thing, let's say if you want to build something like that, what we're going to need. So we're going to need a GPT-3 prompt. Okay. So we will see how to write GPT-3 prompt. If you are not familiar with the GPT-3 prompt is nothing but giving some kind of input and instruction to GPT-3 to get desired output. And then once we have that prompt, we need an API details from that particular prompt. And once we have API details, we can integrate that API details into the Airtable so that you can get this kind of thing, right? And we will see how to do that thing. So let's go to the prompt. So this is GPT-3 Playground. I would suggest you watch my earlier videos that I have created, related to GPT-3, where I have explained what is GPT-3, how to write a prompt. In this particular video, I will be explaining a bit about, specific to what problem statement that we are solving. So let's take a prompt. So we did one video recently, the same thing, building a restaurant replier using GPT-3, right? So I'm going to use that same prompt. So here, what is extra thing? We will see how to integrate into the Airtable. So let me copy this prompt, and I will tell you what does it does. Okay, so this is GPT-3 Playground, where you can experiment with GPT-3, without writing any code. So what here usually you do, you write an instruction for GPT-3, what you want to achieve. And then you can also give an example. So example has input, let's say review, and what is expected output, which is a reply. So I put one review here, and I say, hey, this is how I will write a reply for it. Similarly, I give a different example here. This is an example, and this is the review reply. So these two examples that we are giving GPT-3, so that GPT-3 can learn from these two examples and do the, let's say, a reply for the new review, right? You will also notice that we have separated our example via these two hash. So you need some kind of a separator. It could be 2 hash, 3 hash, it could be anything. Okay, you need to use something here which will not occur inside your example, because right, you need something which will differentiate those things, right? And the right side you have certain parameters of GPT-3. No need to worry about it. So currently we are using text DaVinci GPT-3 model. Let's test this particular playground, right? So since we have these two example, let's test it on a new example. So let's go to here, and again let's copy the same example, right? Let's copy this same example, and we're going to follow the same pattern, right? Here we need to write review, and we're going to paste the review that we have, and maybe here we can put a reply. So we are giving hint to GPT-3 the now that we are expecting a reply, and my cursor, you can see the cursor is here so that GPT-3 can complete that reply. Once you have that thing, you can submit, right? And let's submit, and GPT-3 see it started writing a reply for us. This is what GPT-3 did for us. So you will always have one instruction, some example which is fixed. This part is fixed. This part example plus two example plus instruction, and then this part will keep changing. You might want to try it for a different, so you can simply remove this thing, and let's copy the other one. Like let's copy this one. So this part is nothing but going to be your variable or the placeholder for the new reviews, right? This is important because this is what we need to make a changes to the prompt when we're going to integrate it. And you can again do the same thing, put a cursor here so that GPT knows that it needs to complete from this particular point and submit it. Now you see it completed this particular thing, right? Now once you have the prompt which does the desired output that you are expecting, if it is not doing, make sure you play around with this instruction, right? Now let's say we have a working prompt which gives us a good results as per our expectation. Now what we want, we don't want to keep writing it here, right? We need some API access, so you can click here on view code, right? And you have a couple of options like Node.js, Python, and all these things. We will click on curl because we're going to use it in a JavaScript, let's say. So what does we need to do? First of all, we need an URL where we can make a request, right? And then again, these are two headers, the content type and authorization. This is where we need to put our OpenAI API key. And then this is the data that we need to pass to GPT-3. The important thing is here, the model that we want to try and the prompt. Now this prompt is nothing but what we did here. Here, you see, this is our prompt that we need to see. And we make sure here, this need not to be hard coded. We will put this thing as entry, let's say placeholder. So here we will have a review, and then we want to complete this particular thing. And if you look at, let's say, view code, right, I'm not sure how does it show. Let's say it will act like a placeholder, right? So that this particular thing will get replaced by maybe let's say each review that you put it here. Okay, no need to worry, we're going to see how it can be done. So what I did, we're going to use JavaScript for that. So first, before even we let's create the new base so that we can start working on it, right? So you can go to the Airtable, and you can create the new base. Now, what is base in Airtable? The base in Airtable is nothing but like a database, and you can create a tables inside it. So if you look at the example that I shown you, the replier is actually the name of the base, and the reviews is one table you see here, and there are certain columns in that particular table, right? So we're going to create the new one, right? Let me click on add base here. You can see here. Let's click on it and give some name to the base. I will give the similar name what we have, right? So I will call it like YT. Let's say YouTube YT reviews, or maybe replier. Okay, this is what I give the name to the base, and this is the table. I double click on it. If I double click on it, I can rename it, and let's give the name it that is simply reviews. So now we have a table, and once you create table, you get some default columns. We don't want all of them. Maybe we can rename this thing. Let's call it as a review ID. I will call it, let's say, maybe review ID. You can call it anything, and maybe you can choose its data type. You see, this is the data type. You can click on it and you will get all the suggestions available data type for this particular column. This one auto number, this is something be good, so you get incremental number. Let's save it. Again, you can change, you can double click on this particular thing. Let's name this thing as a review. Here we will put our review. Each record will hold here review, and I will keep the data type same as the long text. You can even search here long text, because the review is going to be long text. You can right click on any column here, and you can even delete it. we don't want. Let's delete it. Let's again delete this one also. I deleted it. Now let's click on this plus icon again to create the new column. Here we will put our reply. So maybe let's call it reply, right? And data type, we will again choose the long text because that's what it is going to be. So now we have three columns here with our table and all these things. So this, we are in the data part of it, right? And so what we need to do now, we need to integrate our logic here. To do that thing, Airtable offers an automations. Now this automation is going to have those particular steps. So if you want to click on automations, it will tell you when do you want to run that automation. It's in our automation is nothing but calling GPT-3 for particular thing. So the first thing, when do you want to call it? You need to add a trigger, the event on which it is going to be. Okay, so on trigger, you can add a trigger and you have a lot of options. When do you want to call GPT-3? Let's say whatever the script you're going to run. So it has a couple of options, when you create any record, when you submit some form. I will choose the first one. You can read more about, you can go and search Airtable automation and you can read more about it. What I'm telling you, let's say this particular condition, when record matches to some condition, we want to fire and we will decide what should be that condition. So let's choose this trigger. So let's tell what is that particular condition. So first we will choose our table, which table we want to do it. Okay, it is yeah, record condition and yeah, table. So where is our table name? We gave one table name as the reviews and you don't see it coming here. Let's see whether we have saved it or not. No, it didn't save. So let's make it reviews again, right? Yeah, we need to click on saves. Okay, now you see the name got changed. Let's go to automation and see whether we got, yes, we got now that table. So we choose the table configuration. Now let's add the condition, this condition when record matches the condition. So we will put a condition that this thing should only happen when our column name, when review is not empty. We want something to be there before we send a request. So that's the only condition, that review is not empty. So whenever you paste something there, whenever it will get some value, it is going to trigger that particular automation. Now that's good. Now let's see, we have choose when to run the automation, but what should happen when it runs? That is where these actions come into picture. So let's add an action. What do we want to do? So let's click on add an action and you can see there are a lot of actions there. Do you want to send email? Do you want to create record on that particular event, or do you want to update any record? What we want actually, we want to run a script because we want to hit a GPT-3 API. So let's select the run script. Now once you select the run script, you can write your script here. Okay, you can write your script here. Let's see what is this, learn more, maybe. Okay, you can learn more about the inputs and all this. Okay, let it be there. So you can write your script, and which is a JavaScript script. Now good thing is that this particular script can get some input variables also. For example, here you could see the base, the name of the base you are getting as the input. Using base, you can also get your table name, and even you can decide what input variable needs to be available here. So for us, what actually we want this review to be there, right? That is the first requirement we have. We want to access this particular field. The second thing, we also want to access some unique identifier for this row. Let's say we are dealing with this row, and when you get this review, we want to also update this particular column. So we should know which record to update. So we need some identifier, and that's we're going to see. So let's go here again, add some input variable. You see here, add input variable, click on it, give some name. Let's give it a name review, a variable name. And what value it's going to have? It will suggest all the column names in your table. So this is the review column. So what we are actually telling, we want to have a variable called review whose value will be the that particular record. You see that particular record review field. So we get the review here. Another input field we want. Let's give it a name, some kind of identifier ID, and we will choose the first thing, Airtable record ID. Why? As I told you, we need some particular identifier, and if you see, this particular identifier will be some kind of a unique number so that we can identify the record. I will show you why we need that particular thing. Now let's say we have this thing. Now we need to write a script. Okay, and there are some sample scripts are available, even how to take an input and all this thing. I will show you something which I have already, so which I anyway took from their website only. So let's say this is how you will access input here. So let me copy this thing, or you can read here what we are doing. First of all, let's say we are console log the base name. Then you have a one thing called input. Using input config, you can get those input variable what we just declared. So we declared a review variable name, right? So you can access input config.review, and you can, using the base, you can also get any table. So base.get table, give the name of the table so that now you have access to table. Let's print both these things there. So let's go here, not here, our new thing. Let me copy paste here, right? So once you paste it here, you can literally test it whether it is going to work or not. So let's click on a test, and we want to run all the steps. Yes, run the both the steps. So let's see what happens. Okay, there is no record to run because that condition is not matching because we have an empty, right? So let's click on finish editing. Also, we can on this automation, so let's on it. So now we have on the automation. Let's go to the data tab field and put something there so that that condition becomes successful. So let me see whether I have some reviews here. I put, yeah, let me copy paste this particular review so that that condition satisfies. Again, should I close this thing? Let me keep it aside here, right? Here is our new thing. So let me paste it here. No, no, this thing, let's remove this thing. I think a lot of things got pasted. Let me remove this particular thing and copy it properly. Or maybe I can simply copy paste from here. This particular thing. Let's copy this thing. Go here, paste it here. Okay, now maybe this is the second time it might be triggering because first time we have done, right? It will not happen here because we haven't written any logic. But let's see whether our automation has triggered. Let's go to automation, and maybe do we see any run history here? Yeah, some failed run you can see here. Okay, let's test the automation and see what is the problem. So we can test automation, and we can select the record to test it. Yeah, there is one record. Let's pick up this record and run automation. Okay, we got some. The first condition satisfied. Definitely there is a way to trigger. But you see, your script through an error run, how to fix it. Like, let's see what is that particular error. Maybe you can look at the execution log or this thing. Yeah, let's look at the execution log. No table matching YT reviews. Yeah, our table is not the YT reviews. So what is the table name that we have? Let's go and check again. This is our, once I click here, I can get option down here, edit code. Once I click on this. So let's go to edit code. And what is our table? No, it's not the YT reviews. It is simply reviews. Okay, let's test it again and see whether it works. Great, test ran successfully. And now you see console log. The first thing we are logging YT reply, which is our base name, which is this. Second thing we are logging is the review itself that comes to this C, reviews the input to the script because we have choose it here. And you can see our review also got here. So now we have access to the review. And we also print the table. So we also print the table. So this is whole reference to the table. You can give the name of the table, and now we have everything to get it started. Now we want to make a request. So that is also I have copied. So don't worry, I'm going to give you this script so that you don't need to search it. Only you need to change your thing, right? So this is our script. What does this script want? So let me, I think I copied this script. Okay, let's copy this part somewhere outside. I choose this particular thing here. So this is some kind of JavaScript online editor because this is good to see. And let me copy this part also. This is our logic. Mhm. Yeah, the first part we already saw. Again, it is not the YT reviews. We know that. Let me copy this properly. Yes, we will make again request. Again mistake, right? So let me paste the one which work. Okay. So this is the prompt we have. So as I told you, our prompt will have instruction and those two examples, right? This part, and then you will have a review, new review that you want to test, and then there is a placeholder because this is going to be dynamic. Every time new record will come, we're going to put its value which is inside the input config because we just saw input config.review. That's it. So this is what, and then we're going to keep a reply colon so that now GPT-3 knows it needs to complete the reply for that. That's our prompt. Now we need to send this prompt to make a request, right? So we are going to use JavaScript fetch function, this fetch function, right? And what it does, this fetch is going to use the URL that we want to make a request. Okay, that is the first thing. Then we need to pass the body with our request. Then we need to pass our headers, and finally the request type. Definitely this is a post request. Headers, if you have remembered from this curl request, we need to pass authorization and the content type, right? So in the authorization, I'm putting the my token, GPT-3 token that I have. If you don't have any GPT-3 token, you can simply go to, let's say, GPT-3, click on your profile. You can see view API keys. Let me open it in the new tab, and you can see all the keys what you have it. If you don't have, you can click on create new key, and you will get this new record here. Now, okay, maybe I can just show you. Let me remove my existing key. Okay, let me create the new key. Okay, I got this key. Let's copy it because we will not get it again if we miss. So let me copy and paste it here, this placeholder, so that you will see how to create the key. Okay, now we got the new key. So let me click on OK here. We got the new key also. Content type is application JSON, and this is finally our body. Now what does body has? The model. This is nothing new. We just took the same parameter what we got it here from the playground, right? The only thing is that the API key is different because we want our own API key. And once we have this thing, this is our prompt. The prompt I just show you. The prompt is nothing but instruction plus example plus the test thing that we want to do. Now let's copy this and see whether it works. Let me copy this thing and paste it here again, right? And you can see we have this. Let's do console log, and this console.log the output. Okay, don't worry. Let's run it and see whether it works, and then I will explain you if you have doubt. Again, test ran successfully, so no error. Now you see our prompt also I'm printing because I'm logging our prompt on top. And this is finally, thank you for the rare review, we are so glad. So you see this final thing is nothing but this output we got from the GPT-3. And you might see how we got. So we got response in this data variable, and then you see this data, it seems to be some kind of a dictionary or object, and which has a key called choices, which seems to be an array because we are accessing the first element of array. So if you go to API reference here, and you can see how response object looks like, so that it will be clear for you. In the response, you have a one key called choices, which is nothing but the list. You can see it is a list, but it has only one element, one object, right? And that single object has a field called text. We did the same thing. So if you go to our thing, we got this response object, then it has the choices, which is the list. We are accessing the first element of that list, and which has a key called text. And I'm just trimming it if it has any extra space, starting and something. So this is our final response that we got from the GPT-3, and we just log it. But we don't want to just log it. What we want to do, we want to assign that thing to the other column that what we have. So just login is not going to help. So in our case, we also have a reply column. So what we have achieved till this point, we are able to receive this particular value review in our script. We are able to pass that value to the GPT-3, and we also got reply from GPT-3. Now we need to assign that value back to this particular column, right? So let's work on that thing. So the next thing we want to assign. So that also Airtable provide. If you see here, this there is a documentation how to use Airtable thing, and you can see a lot of things, how to use Airtable, and maybe you can see how to load any particular record. But I have already taken what is required for us. So this is just 2 lines of code. So once we have an output, what we will do, we are actually going to, since we have already access to table, because we have here, you saw, right, we are able to get access to the table reference using get table method of our base. Now once we have a table, the table has a method called update record or update record async, right? Because we want to update the record. But which record to update? We want to update the record where id is equal to the id that we got into the input. This id is the unique identifier of our record, because we have selected it from here, Airtable record id, which is the unique identifier. So that particular syntax says that I want to update a record from this particular table where id is equal to the one we got inside the script. And what we want to do, we want to update this particular field. We want to update the reply column of that particular record with the output that we got from the GPT-3. Okay, this is what it is doing. So if you are just a bit familiar with the scripting or coding, you should be pretty good with this thing. Yeah, let's remove this line because anyway we are doing console log bottom. Okay, now test it because we have taken the output and finally updated the record in the reply column. So let's test it again. We didn't get any error, right? So let's finish our editing and let's go back to our data section. And you see, we got reply here, so it is working now. Now let's test it on a different examples. Now we don't need to go there because our automation is working. Let's go to different restaurant. I'm going to use only biryani restaurant because that's what I like. Any, let's say this particular restaurant. And any other reviews? Let's go to some different reviews. Okay, this seems to be a bad review. Let's take it. What does it says? Was biryani? They are not happy with the taste and spicy. Okay, they find it super hot and spicy. No problem. Let's copy this thing and go to our reply that we just created. Let's copy here and click on outside and see. It should pop up the reply column because that's what we are expecting. And we will see what reply does GPT-3 gives for that particular review. Oh, seems taking a bit time. What happened? Let's go and see whether the automation has run or not. I seems to be some issue. It will not take this much time. Is it? Okay, no problem. Let's go and see what is the issue. Go to the automation and see our run history. Yes, it just got failed. Let's see what is the reason. A record did match, but our script got failed. What is failing here? Let's see the execution log. No table matching YT reviews. Yeah. Why? We just changed that thing, right? Did we save our script or not? Let's go back to the script. Double click here. Let's go to the script. Where is our script? Where we saw this YT reviews? We have here reviews. Where is the YT reviews? How we got this error? Okay, maybe did we save it properly? Let's click on a finish editing. I think so. And yeah, sorry, we didn't click on update here. So we need to update it so that it reflects. So you see, we are getting this warning. Let's click on this update so that it works. Okay, now it might work. Let's not might, it should work now because you see all changes are saved. That is good thing. So if you are working, you should know what kind of problems we face. We took the wrong name, we didn't update. So these are the problems you will also might face. Let's go back to data and maybe I can copy the same thing in the next line. Here, let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, it came. We are sorry to hear that you didn't enjoy the food. We would like to appreciate. Okay, that's fine. Let's try other review. Maybe we will take good review. The highest one. Huh, let's see. What is this thing? And let's copy this thing. And let's do what happens. We hope to see a good reply. Okay, we are glad that you enjoy the food. Again, we try to be more efficient. Parking is available for two-wheeler and four-wheeler. Did they talk about anything related to parking? Let's see the review. Love this spicy and all these things. So well, parking available. Okay, they did mention something related to parking. Lift. That is the reason some review. So you see, it's not something generic. It is going to use the content of that review and write the reply. Now you might have a question that okay, this might not be the good use case. Why would I do this thing in Airtable? No, the thing is that I wanted to show you how to integrate GPT-3 into tool like Airtable, where you have a lot of things, and you don't need to do this one by one. You can import whole 1,000 record spreadsheet, and it will automatically start making request for each record. So that is where automation bring. You don't need to manually do that kind of stuff. Or you might want to have something like this. You fetch your all reviews here of your all the let's say shops or all the businesses, and then eventually let the GPT-3 generate automatically reply, and maybe then you have some reviewer who just mark it, okay, this is good, this is bad, let it do, right? So maybe that way you can do, or you have a different use case, just like I told you the other use case you might have here, right? The whole idea is to show you so that you can go and try about this thing, right? So that's what we did today. I show you how to integrate the Airtable into GPT-3. Again, if you're not familiar, it might be now repetitive, but I'm going to put the link into the description with respect to what earlier videos we did with GPT, so that it is becoming easy for you to follow. And I make sure I attach the script. I make sure I attach that particular script, automation script, inside some. Maybe I will share the Notion page itself, and I can, yeah, I will share the Notion page which has all this thing. I hope, yeah, it is not the white reviews, it's the reviews. So I hope you find this video useful. Let me know if you have any suggestions, and maybe yeah, what any topic you want me to cover in the next video. Thank you.